Mr. Shreevats Jaipuria, Vice Chairman, Seth, MR Jaipuria Schools and Jaipuria Institutes of Management. Can we have Mr. Shreevats Jaipuria on the dais, please?
Good afternoon, friends. First of all, I'm not going to talk much about Jaipuria and want to talk a little bit in general about the school sector and specifically about how private schools can have an impact outside metropolitan cities. When we talk about private school education and come to conferences such as this one, most of us are representing only a few cities, whether it's Delhi, Bombay, or slowly it's moving outside to state capitals. But I can say with some degree of confidence that in the audience, we are working maybe in 5, 10 cities that are being represented in the audience today. We believe at Jaipuria that in order to address the growing demands of a new India, that this must change for the benefit of students and for the benefit of schools to address a large supply gap that exists outside these zones of our comfort. So, talking about the supply gap, in India, the school enrollment today is about 25 crore children. These people are already enrolled in school at a primary education level. Of course, the government school enrollment as a percentage is extremely high. Through various studies, there is a belief that 30 to 60% of our population, and those are the two extreme numbers, can be considered as middle class. Middle class means that they have some sort of disposable income beyond just their sort of eating and living survival. So if I take this 30 to 60% of the 25 crores, so about 7.5 to 15 crore school children come from a middle class background in India. Would it shock you to know that if we talk about national boards or a very few international boards, there are only 16,500 schools of this level existing in India. And even if we estimate 1,000 kids per school, which is a high sort of optimistic estimate, we are only catering to 1.5 crore children, which is only about 10 to 20% of middle class India that is enrolled in school. I think this itself is a shocking gap in which we need to address as educators, look at how we can do a better job of addressing the huge market that lies there for us. The majority of the middle class, we believe, can pay a starting fees close to 1,800 to 2,000 rupees a month, going up to about 4,000 rupees a month, which translates to about 20 to 50,000 rupees a year. There are 500 cities, or close to 500 cities in India, with a population of more than 100,000 or 1 lakh people. And we believe that private school education of a national level needs to become a reality in each of these cities. Moreover, there are about, as Mr. Anil Swarup, the Honorable Secretary, was speaking, we need to talk about not only these few oases, but India is a country of 675 districts, each with an average population of 16, 17 lakhs. Can schools make an impact across the country, across districts, across the 500 or so cities that have a population which would allow a private school not only to survive but flourish? Now, why does this sort of gap exist, and what is this gap? A lot of the national level school chains are restricted to, the big ones are restricted to 50 to 70 cities. The small ones may be smaller, but the big ones are restricted to 50 to 70 cities, and a fee range that starts where we believe that sort of this middle class or the bulk of the middle class gap ends. So the fee range of these schools starts from about 40,000 and goes up to about 100,000. And again, there's an overemphasis on just a brand play. So a school comes, there are many schools which will come and give a franchise, give a brand name, but the sort of education that is taking place in that city really won't undergo a change. Maybe a nice building comes up. But that should not be the intention if you're actually trying to bring about a change in the quality of education. The other side of the people who are trying to address this issue is, of course, individual private schools. So there may be schools in small cities with 100,000, 200,000 population, which is maybe legacy school. Somebody started a school who lives in that city, who sits out of that school and is trying to do the best possible job he or she can. But they have several limitations. There's no standardization of quality. They have limited resources, and they don't have access to teacher training of a national level or curriculum development of a national level. Today, the reality is that we may blame teachers and say, you know, teachers are not up to the quality. But the reality is that we, as an education industry, are not giving teachers learning opportunities. They are not getting either the time or the resources or the direction to really think about what they are teaching, how they are teaching it, and how it should change from how they were teaching 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Schools simply believe that if they hire whatever they believe is the best teacher in the market, that they should be able to deliver in the classroom from the first day, and not really investing in upgrading the skills of the teacher, which is the necessity for education to change at a mass level. What's needed? We believe the first thing that's needed is a minimum teaching learning standards. We need to have a research team which does curriculum design, delivery, pedagogy, and assessment. So we need to concentrate some resources on curriculum design, on how things need to be delivered, and make it understandable to teachers in sort of bite-sized form. If I'm teaching a topic today as a teacher, can I read something that's 2, 3, 4 pages that will give me fresh ideas of how I should approach this topic? We're at a technology conference here today. Technology has made available so many resources. If you search any topic, there's millions of resources available of how you can teach that topic, or videos or PowerPoints. But what's relevant in my context? Can I get that? Otherwise, I'm overwhelmed by the amount of information if I just do a Google search. So that, even though the information is there, it doesn't have the relevancy that's needed to make it practically and administratively usable in the classroom. Secondly, a school ahead of teaching learning does a lot of things which cost can be optimized if the research takes place centrally. And thirdly, it's important that we are able to achieve scale, replicating, whatever we are doing in one school, so that the costs get divided and we don't pass on a disproportionate amount of cost to our students. So, just a little bit about what we are doing so far. Our idea at St. M.R. Jaipuria schools is that we should establish quality schools in towns and cities across India, which provide a national level education and opportunities to students. We've been very fortunate starting out with our first school in Lucknow, that over the last 4 or 5 years, we have traveled to towns and cities, at least across UP and Bihar for now, and gone to towns where, big schools have not gone in the past, whether it be towns like Faizabad or Barabanki or Hardoi or Beraich. And the enthusiasm that we see in the student community there, in the parents who are really wanting to get something different and not just a big brand name or a big building, but see the education of their child change. Over the last 5 years, we have grown from 1 to 20 schools, from about 4,000 students in one of our old legacy schools to about 16,000 students today. And we see ourselves growing to about 35,000 students in the next 3 years and about 50,000 students in the next 5 years. And our idea and our mission is to penetrate each district in which we have our current geographical region, which is North India. And we believe that through our model, we'll be able to change the quality of education, not only in metropolitan cities, state capitals, but across districts, towns, and cities across India. We believe that this is a financially viable thing to do and a socially desirable thing to do as well. Thank you.